All right, so welcome back. We're gonna use everything that we learned here, and we're gonna make a letter O. So um, we're gonna first save. Remember, there's no autosave. And to start the letter O, I'm just gonna copy this letter N, this awful letter N that we made here, and copy it into the O. And so I like to have, the proportions of the letter N in the background of the letter O, just so I know how wide to make some things. So I'm going to use that command again, copy or move to the background. So Shift and then Enter. And we're going to put that in the background. Now we have our general proportions. We can start drawing. So what I like to do is I kind of like to just like the N, just kind of make a couple of straight segments and then fill it in as curves as I go. So we make this a closed contour, going to align these, going to align these, and then I'm going to make these curves by holding Option and Shift. So now we have them as curves. So I'm going to, but this is obviously very square. So we're going to use the Command key and click and drag them to bring all these guys in. And it's kind of tough drawing like a free-handed circle with the basic pen tool. But one thing that we could do is take one segment that we like for instance that one, clear this whole thing, and paste it. So we have one segment, paste it again. Now we have another segment on top, paste it on top of it, and I'm going to use my flip hotkey, which was again the slash buttons, and I'm going to move this, drag this down to close that contour there. Then we're going to select all this, paste, copy, paste, and then flip them around and move this. So this is 100% rotational. And this is still looking a little bit, a little bit strange. So we're going to scale it back. And so to do that, we're going to select all and then press the T key for transform. And what that's going to do, you can transform or scale the contour inwards. You can also scale from the center point or a certain point in the glyph by holding down the Command key and dragging. You can hold down the Shift to constrain horizontal and vertical dimensions. So you can kind of fine-tune your O like that. You can hold down the Option key for rotation. So for rotation, you get more granular control the longer you pull out this little arm. If you're really close to the origin, it's very volatile. If you pull it all the way out, it's much more fine-grained. And then if you hold Command and Option, you get this triangle, which means you can skew. So if you hold down Shift as well, that is how you get your horizontal skew or your vertical skew. This is helpful when making italics. But we're not making an italic right now. We're still struggling to get our Roman off the ground. So we have a basic O shape. We might want to lengthen these, so I'm going to just select these Bezier control points by holding down Option and dragging a box, and so I can only, that's the way I can only select the control points, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and arrow up. I'm going to do the same down here, arrow down, so it's giving us a little bit more of a rounder shape. I'm going to round out that there. And let's see if this is rotationally correct. So I'm going to go down to the background here. Now that we have our proportions pretty much figured out, clear the background. You can also do a layer down and layer up using the Option, Command, up and down keys. Option, Command, but I have a window or a window organizer that kind of blocks that. So I don't usually use that. But anyway, we're going to copy this to the background, not moving it, just so we have in the background the same glyph. And we're going to rotate it just to make sure it's rotationally the same. That seems like it's okay. We might want a little bit more overshoot. So this is 8 units above that, and this is 4 units above that, so we're going to move it down 2. But we might want to bring this up like 10. So it's an overshoot of 10. Maybe something like that. And then we're going to copy the outside, paste the outside, press the Transform T button, holding down Command. We're going to scale in our inside of this O. And then we are going to change the direction of this because the outside contours in a font go counterclockwise and the interior shapes of a font go clockwise. So you can click on the node, any node, and say reverse contour, or you can use the hotkey that I just set, Shift R, to change the direction of that contour. And now we're kind of looking like we are a little bit of a reverse contrast donut here. So I'm going to, instead of using the transform tool, I'm going to actually use this palette up here where you can put in numbers to do the transform instead of using your mouse. So this little object up here says where your transform center is going to be, so we're going to put it in the center for right now. And I'm going to make the X a little bit, we're going to bring in the X direction a little bit, which X is this way, Y is vertical. So we're going to make the X like 95, and the Y, we're going to bring it out a little bit, 102 or something. And then we can press scale. And that made it a little bit better. So if you wanted to do multiple transformations at once, say if you wanted to scale and move it like 10 units and skew it 1 degree all at once, you hit this transform button down here, and that would do that. And if you wanted to constrain the scale, like scale Y and X, both 95%, you would press this X equals Y button, and the same with the move and the skew. In here, there are a couple of other options, and these are a little bit more of an advanced option, but you can in the font window, if I selected both of these and I wanted to scale them both by 95%, I could transform selected glyphs, and that scaled the both of them 95% and moved them and skewed them also. But we don't want that. In here there are other options. If you also wanted to scale the metrics while scaling the contours and other stuff like that, those options are in there. So we have an O, we have an N, so now we need to make them work together because that is the magic of a font. So in the next section we're going to be looking at the space center and how we can use that to our advantage.